This video is to show you how to bring a model space into Cloudworx and work with Cloudworx inside of AutoCAD. You can see up at the top tab, there's your home tab here, and then over here is Cloudworx. So I'm going to click on the Cloudworx tab, and when I do that, it changes this whole ribbon, and there's a lot of different things we're going to use in that functionality there. But the very first thing I want to do before we get going anymore in AutoCAD is I'm going to type in units here and make sure that my units are set up to architectural. So I'm going to click architectural, and it should be in inches. That's what we're going to deal with. So click OK. The next thing to do is open the MS view, which is the model space view. So I'll click on this. It's going to go out there. I know my license is getting close to being expired. I'm going to get a new one. Don't worry. It shows in inches, which is correct. I'm going to click on the little ellipsis here. And right here now, this is going to be the same structure. So hit the plus signs, just like I've done before in model space, or excuse me, in Cyclone Navigator. So there's my reg here, and there's the model space we just created from before. So just so you know what I'm talking about here, this is this same model space here. There's Unify, and then here's the model space, what it looks like itself. This is what we're bringing in. So that's already set up. We've done that. Now I'm going to go back in AutoCAD here. Done the same structure here. Click on Unify and click Open. It's all like I want. It's got inches. It should be like I want to. So click OK here. It's going to take a minute to generate this. And then I click on Top just to bring it all. There we go. And it shows the top. So this should look really similar to what we've already done. So a couple things that kind of help out with in Cloudworx here. One is right up here. We're already on the Cloudworx tab, so that's the whole Cloudworx ribbon there, and it's showing right now. This is in color mapping mode. I don't like this as much. You can see here I've got a black background. You can change it to white. It still doesn't look quite right. You can't see everything as well. So I don't like using color mapping or true color. The one I think works best for what we're doing here is use this intensity one. Now you can see how much better it shows up, pick up all the colors they're typically showing up with scanned data. So I prefer using intensity. Of course, you can do what you want to on that. Once we've got that, the next thing you can kind of do, and just to show you how this kind of works, I'm going to go over to this cube, and you can start moving things around a little bit here. And you can kind of see, and I'm just going to kind of go about like right in here somewhere. This is just typical stuff, and I'm going to zoom up on this. And the closer I get, you can see it changes. It goes ahead and does a regeneration of the point cloud. Oops, wrong button. The mouse, and it regenerates the points. Now sometimes you'd like to get a little bit better. It doesn't always do this, but sometimes it does by going regenerate points, and it will actually increase the number of points that are there. If the points actually physically aren't there from the scan data, you're out of luck. That's just the way it's going to be. So that does help a little bit. So the next thing I like to do when you're dealing with the floor plan is go up here into this area here into the orientation. We're going to use a floor and wall. So what it does is it lets you pick, in this case, you can see the little diagram there, the icon. It wants to have a floor and then 90 degrees to it as a wall, which is going to work really well for us. So I'm going to click right here on the floor, as it says down the bottom. So I pick the floor. It's going to take a second to process. And then it says pick a wall point. So I'm going to go up here, and you can see some different strategy. And I don't know if those points are behind or whatever, but I'm going to stay in this green area here, and I'm going to pick right there and pick a wall. So now you see what it did right there. It picked this point, changed my UCS to this point right here, and put the Z up, Y going this way, and X going this way here. My little cube over here really works well. So I'm going to click on top. So now it's going to fix it just like I want. So there's top. And you can actually change it to, here's the right side view right there, boom, and so on. I'm going to go back to the top. You can change it around to the different views if you want to. So the other thing I want to check to make sure is if it's done right. See, there's my walls, and I look at this, and it's like, well, it's looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm happy with this. There's the cursor lines pretty much up right with the walls. Down here, look at this, then the wall here, and this is pretty good. Now, what you might find out is the walls weren't built quite right. So they're not exactly 90 degrees to each other, but this looks pretty good. Looks like it's squared. I'm going to work with this. It could be off just slightly, but I think I'm going to work with it. Let me check one other spot here. Come over here, and I'll check on this wall here, just looking for 90 degrees, see if it looks pretty good, and I think it does, the way the cursors work in there. So I like that. Now you'll notice here that I'm using a cursor that goes all the way across the whole screen. This works really well for working with scan data in Cloudworx. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. So you go Options, enter this is a typical AutoCAD command. Right here under Crosshair, it's under the display. So display right here, crosshair size, I have it clear over to the far right. That's how I prefer to use it actually in AutoCAD, in Civil 3D, and when I'm doing AutoCAD with Cloudworx, I like it that way. Some people don't, but in this case, I think it's going to be quite useful for you to have it all the way across there. So you can click and apply and then click OK. And the reason I do that is so just for this purpose right here, I can run this line up here and see all the way up that whole line to see where my wall is and see how it all lines up. And I'm pretty happy with how that works. So at this point then, all we have to do is go to Home, and we can start setting up. Right now I've just got these things for layers. It comes in with the Cloudworx. You can't change that anyway. So essentially, we've got one layer, the typical 0 layer. So for a floor plan, I'm going to want to do like walls. I want to do maybe concrete pad. I want to do cabinets. I want to do maybe stairs, machinery, something like that. So I can do my pumps and stuff like those things like that. So you're going to want to look at the guide that I've done to kind of get an idea of what needs to go into this floor plan and just set your layers accordingly. So just for our purposes right now, just to show you what I'm doing, I'm just going to click on one and call it walls. Oops, make it all caps. I like using caps. Walls, and I'm going to make it so we can see a little bit better. I'm gonna make it, instead of yellow, which I like to see, it's nice and bright. Yellow doesn't show up real well here because that's what most of the intensity is yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and go with cyan here. I'll go with the magenta. Click OK here, and I want those walls. I'm just going to use the monochrome CTB here. So I'm going to make this control the line weights out here, and I'm going to go pretty thick. I'm just going to make that 1.0. And then continuous is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and set that as the default, and now we can start drawing walls. So literally right now, we're oriented now. We've already got ourselves done. We can just start doing AutoCAD from here. So let me just show you, and I prefer to do some of the stuff in polylines just because it's easier to work with. So at this point anyway, so I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to start here. And again, with that cursor being as long as it is, now I can actually line up with the wall here and here, a little bit more, and click on that. Now I've got one of my first wall. You're going to want to go ahead and turn your ortho mode on. And it looks like that wall, looks like there's another jog in the wall somewhere. I'm just going to draw it right to here right now. We don't have enough data to know what actually happened down here. So I'm going to go up this way here. And it looks like it's following that line really well. So yeah, it's coming out real nice there. Now over here, I'm not sure what's happening. I got a little jog in the wall there. I can't really tell. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's this one right here above this. So I'm clicking right there, and I'm going to come out over here. And again, with this long cursor, you can see how the advantage of this is. So I'm going to come over here and see if I'm lined up pretty much with my point cloud data, and it's going to be pretty close to right there. Click there, go up here. Now I don't know exactly where this back wall is here. So I'm going to just put it up there somewhere and see if I can determine it a little bit later. Oh, there's a little something, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like we can work with that. Okay, so we're good to go with this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, get a little closer here to where my point, so my line's going to be about right. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to come across over here, and you can start to see, looks like there's a jog in the wall again, so that may not be the best place to do that. And I'm going to come down, and I'm just going to call it out right here. This is all I've got. I can't put data, I can't draw lines where data doesn't exist very well. So that's going to be about right there. And I'm going to go over here. I know there's some probably cabinets here instead of walls, but we'll have to work with what we've got for data. Now that's off a little bit. I might have to make an adjustment. That's fine. And then I'm going to go right here. I think we'll be about right there. And then come down here. And I think this is actually the door, so I may be just redoing this part here anyway. Click in here and then scroll down a little bit more. And this is the whole door there as well. Yeah, so that's going to be the door, it looks like. And come back over here again for this wall here, and then down to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and go past it. So it looks like we came out pretty good. And then I'm just going to do a fillet here, and you can start to see pretty quickly how you can make this wall work. Now, again, you might have to come back up and tweak this a little bit. There's another wall over here, or there's a garage door right here you'll have to work with. And I think there's a door here, but I can't see it very well. That may be it there. And you can actually look at the data, turn it up on its side here, and have a look at that if you want to do that. So there's other places where we can look at this. I want to put some pads in here. So like this is going to be the concrete pad. Looks like that's the size of the pad right there. So I'm going to go over here, walls, and make a new, go to Layer Properties Manager, make a new one and call it, just call it concrete pads, I guess. Clear enough. And I want to make that cyan, just so I can still see it pretty well. And let's make a line weight there of, let's say like C point. You know what I think I want to do is I want to get that faded in the background a little bit. So I'm going to go with like 0.35, click OK here, and then make it, instead of continuous, I'm going to go ahead and make it like a hidden or something like that, or hidden, maybe hidden 2, something like that. It's kind of a dashed line. And then click on hidden 2 here, click OK. This is all just typical AutoCAD stuff. And go ahead and set that current and come down here, and I'll show you just a couple more things here with this. So now I like using rectangle because we know a lot of stuff's built square, and look at how nice that's lining up there with that. So right there, it's going to be not exact because of maybe they didn't build it exactly correct. And I'm going to come over here with my cursor. I don't know exactly where that ends up. I might have to adjust it later, but it looks like it's right about right there. And I know I'll go at least to that end right there. So I'm going to call that good for my pad. I got a little bit more data over here as well. It's likely that those two pads are exactly the same. And so then I've got some machinery in here. I can do some stuff with this. It looks like it's got different parts of this pump here. And then, here's another pad here. So I can make another pad there. Again, they're probably all exactly the same. So you probably want to just do a copy here. So let's just see what that looks like. If I do a copy and click on this right here, and then bring it over here, turn my ortho mode off again, and come down and see how that's going to match up. Oh, it does match up pretty good. So I was right. That looks pretty good. That's going to be pretty much where your pad's going to be. So that's going to be close there. That means this one over here is going to be the same, or pretty darn close to it. And I've only got part of it, but because I've got other data elsewhere, I can make this thing work. So I'm going to put that pad right there. So, and now this looks like there's another pad down here, and it's got a different configuration altogether. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another polyline, a rectangle here. Maybe I'll just go with a polyline. So PL for polyline, and kind of zoom up on this a little bit there. It shows up a little bit better. Don't know what's happening here exactly. Oh, that looks like a pipe. There's my pad right there. So I'm going to start right there and go up here a little ways. And looks like it goes right to here. Turn my ortho mode back on again. Most likely this stuff in architecture is built on a 90 degree. So there it is over there. It looks like the far edge of that pad is right over there. Now I'm going to get into some area where I don't have data, but I can make an assumption that this goes all the way down. Since this is out here, this is probably not the end of it. It might step down a little bit, but I'm going to go right to there and then come across here and again go past it so I can do a fillet and make sure that I don't that I put those at 90 degrees to each other. And that's kind of your pads. Now I've got machinery here, so I'm going to go ahead and make another layer and call it machinery. And I'm going to make it a different color and just call it, I don't know, what's one of these up here somewhere, 212. That's a little like magenta, I think. Let's make it a little pinker. How's that? So 213, how's that? So we'll go with that. And we'll make it continuous. And now make that the active layer. And now we'll draw a little bit of machinery here. So some of the stuff I want to look at I'm just going to call everything that's like above this pads, I'm going to call it machinery. So then a circle works well, and you can hit the circle, and this is a typical one where it's a 2-point circle with the diameter. But if you use the 2-point, I find that this works better with scanning. So I'm going to come over here and click a 2-point. Let's see if I can get a circle that's got, oh, there's most of it right there. Let's get one that's pretty close. So I'm going to click right here, roughly, and then I can get the size and orientation with this 2-point. So I like using 2-point when it comes to this kind of stuff. That's going to be pretty darn close to what those look like. So my guess is they're the same. So I'm going to copy that from right here and just see what they look like down here as well. Turn my ortho mode back off again and zoom up a little bit more if I need to. But I think we're going to be good. This is about what it looks like. So I like that one. This one's probably going to be close to the same. It lines up really well. They're all the same size cylinders. So you can also, Yep, there we go, like that. Okay, so let's just kind of move along, and then you've got your stairs you can do. You can see those. You've got other pads up here, and you can draw those in. There's some other circles here you can do. So these circles, I don't know, are those above where they are in the ground? So I'm going to go over here and go to this and move my view up a little bit here so I can kind of see what's going on. Okay, so those are actually sitting above the ground, so I'm not going to worry about doing those. These here, these two barrels that are sitting here, I'll go ahead and put those on. If I look at this, my data here, I want to get that little instrument panel and it's sitting on top of this pad here, which is sitting on top of another pad. It looks like these two are the same. If I go over this way a little bit, it's going to show my data. I don't want to do this storage shelves there. This is another boiler. It looks really similar, different pad maybe slightly. So those are in. I don't have hardly any data there. So for what I'm doing right now, I'm going to assume that this boiler and this one here are the same as these two here. We can draw those in. So you can see now over here, like I've got cabinets. So I'm going to put those cabinets in there. So I can draw those as cabinets. There's another cabinet over here. And there's a couple cabinets, right? Like there's a cabinet over here. I'm going to turn this around a little bit more so you can see what's happening over here. Okay. So, and you'll have to decide how many of these you want, but we're just doing a floor plan. We're not going to go crazy on what parts we're going to work. So there's a cabinet there you can see. And I'm not wanting you to draw people in or anything like that. So you get an idea then from how to do this. Once you've got that, you can click on top again because we've oriented this thing correctly. It orients it right back where we want it to. Oops, that's upside down. So click on north here. Oops. Yeah, we'll get it here in a second. I'll go back to home. There we go. Now click on home, top. Now we got it like we want. So this is how I'd like to have it oriented this way here. As we walk into the room, right here's the door to come in. You got the landing area down the stairs, and then we'll see how the other stuff you can be drawing in. That's the concept. Once you've got that, of course, you need to save this drawing and save it out to whatever makes sense to you.